Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to True Myths, the show all about the paranormal, urban legends, conspiracies, all of the things that we don't fully understand. I'm your host, Anthony Manella. Today's first guest is Ryan McCauley.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan.
And today's second guest...
I would not like my name to be said on the podcast whatsoever.
Seth Cologne.
I'm leaving.
So, guys, today we're actually, we're talking about things that are non-human. What I mean by that is, have you guys...
Vegetables?
Well,
yeah, it's vegetable horror stories.
There is one vegetable-related story in here.
Is there actually?
Nope.
Oh.
Have you guys ever met someone in person where you've just been like, okay, something about them just feels off. Like I feel weird vibes. I almost feel like they're not human.
Every time I come over.
I knew Seth was going to say that. When I was preparing how I was going to structure the intro of this episode, I said, at this point, Seth is going to take a shot at me, but if he doesn't, I'm going to take a shot at him.
I'm not saying I'm not inhuman either. I'm just saying...
Everybody's inhuman in some sort of way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that when my brother worked at a store, at the UPS store, I heard this really horrifying tale. There was a guy who came in, it was an older guy, like probably 60s, 70s. He had a bunch of Gucci stuff, like $6,000 plus of Gucci stuff he wanted to return. And he came in and then he hit on all the pregnant women there and left.
What do you mean all the pregnant women
there? Were
there?
two
How many
pregnant
women were there?
That is my favorite man
Does
alive.
UPS actually just stand for like ultimate pregnant store?
Maybe that's what he thought. All that is inhuman, but it's just also like, what are you doing?
Seth, I'm telling you, that was definitely just a person who's insane, and probably a really bad person, too.
Probably, but, like, he has his moments.
Well, I genuinely don't think I've had that experience.
Okay.
Not at least anything I can remember.
Yeah.
I've had experiences of people that I just felt unsettled by, like something is off
but
about
never
this.
to the point where you're like, that's not human.
Yeah, never to the point that I thought this person wasn't human.
So all of these stories involve something like that, where they maybe seemed human on the surface, and then when you get to know them, maybe not so much. So who's ready to jump into our first story here?
I'm ready. Are you ready, Seth?
I'm pretty ready.
We're gonna do it.
All right.
We'll do it.
Okay. They've accepted the first story. Story number 1. My mom has been telling me and my siblings this story for years now, and every time she tells this story, it always gives me the chills. My mom was extremely young at the time, considering this was somewhere in the 80s, and my mom was probably around 7 to 10, though I'm not sure. She was living in Harris County, Texas at the time, and her father, my grandpa, was retired Special Forces, and they were living in a neighborhood next to a house where she would always see this man sitting in a rocking chair on his front porch. He would just do that every day. So my mom's father decides one day to go talk to the man and try to get to know him. So he leaves his house, goes over to the man's porch, and introduces himself to the man and sits down with him. They start chatting away. But that's when the man tells my grandpa that he wants to show him something. And though he's a little hesitant, he accepts. They walk into the man's house and into the basement, but my father noticed how the house looked abandoned and run down. He didn't really mind. They continue down into the basement, and in the middle of the room is a table with a plate in the center with chicken legs on it. The man tells him to sit, and they both start eating. After a few minutes, they get done, and they put the legs on the plate, but then the man says, "You want to see something cool?" My mom's father's hesitant, but again, he accepts. Then the man begins to put his hand over the plate and starts waving around over the plate. The bones start to levitate, almost dance. And the man said, "If you want this power, you must sell your soul to the devil." And as soon as my mom's dad heard that, he ran as fast as he could out of the house. And after that day, the man wasn't seen again. So my mom's father decided to investigate. He went back to the basement, he found a pentagram engraved in the floor of the house, and he asked the neighbors if anyone had lived there. They all said that no one had been living there and it had been abandoned for years. After that, my mom's father never stepped foot in the house again. And that is the end of story number 1. discuss.
Can I start?
Yeah.
Well, I want Seth to tell me if I can start. Can I start?
Let's wait a few more moments.
All right.
Okay, I think you're good.
Okay. Why is the mom's father constantly referred to as my mom's father instead of my grandpa?
Because it's not her real grandpa.
Right. Okay.
Father.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not a real grandpa.
Her real grandpa.
Yeah, grandfather. It's she disowned him.
From this point forward, I'm going to refer to him as her grandfather or her grandpa.
I had the same thought, and the only thing that I could think of was because the story takes place maybe before this person was born.
Before grandpa was invented as a word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
My next thought,
Before
though.
he was a grandpa.
What really bothered me is that this man is like king of making bad decisions. Like he goes into...
how old was he again?
He's a grandpa.
No, I meant like during this time.
He was a dad at this time.
Okay, he was all right. So,
He was younger.
yeah, he could have been in his 20s.
I'd be shocked if he's still alive.
Regardless, yeah, this man has no sense of survival, okay? Like, he followed this suspicious man into the basement. Then, there's nothing in this basement but a table in the middle of the room with chicken wings on it, and he's just like, yeah, sure, I'll eat these random chicken wings that are sitting here.
I don't. I think that was a smart choice.
You'd go all in on the chicken
I would do
wings.
that.
So Seth would eat the chicken.
I would eat the chicken.
Would you also sell your soul to the devil?
I wouldn't sell my soul to the devil. I would say, oh, that's kind of cool, though.
But the power was cool, though.
It was
right?
cool. But, like, also, the demon or whatever that was a terrible salesman. That was it?
Right.
If you want to do this, and sell your soul to the devil, like, you don't get anything else?
Seth, that was my exact thought. It's like, so what, I can make chicken bones dance? Like,
It's like a terrible, like, I would bargain a little bit more.
yes.
Get something out of it, money, something.
Show a little more power. Like, that's cool, but, like, it's just a party trick at best.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're gonna need a little bit more.
So here's my one thing, not really against what you said, Ryan, and I'm not saying this is a smart decision. I'm just remembering some of the stories that Tom told us as a delivery driver where people were like inviting him into their house.
Yeah.
Did Tom ever go in? Do you remember?
I think he
did, right?
He did go in.
So maybe this is about Tom,
This is Tom.
who I would
He's
like
a grandpa now?
That this guy is the king of making bad decisions. But Tom clearly is too then. If he went into the house. I don't remember the story, but I think Tom did go in.
At the very least, that was one of the stories, but it might have been the fake one. Either way,
Right.
though, I agree. Yeah, don't go into a random man's house. I do
Ask
think
for the chicken wings up front.
What's more...
First of all, I have enough food allergies where if someone said, "Hey, try this," I would already say no to begin with. Let alone in the basement of someone's house. It's like, okay, what do you mean eat this? When did you cook these? How
Yeah.
long have they been sitting here?
They're just sitting on a table in the open in the basement.
Right.
Like, that is so unsanitary.
It's a part of the trick.
I have had a situation before where one of my neighbors, who I was getting to know for the first time, did invite both me and my father into the house.
Did it ask you to sell your soul to the devil?
It is believable where a neighbor that you get to know for the first time invites you in. They're like, hey, like, let's get to know each other. But if he was like, hey, come into my basement and eat chicken wings, I think I'd draw the line. And that's what makes me say I'm not so sure if I believe that this story that this person wrote on Reddit is real.
I think it's real. I think demons are that lame, that they're not good salesmen. And
That's a good point, actually.
I dare one to try to give me a good offer.
Oh no, Seth, you're opening up a can of worms.
I want a good offer, man.
If any of you watching or listening are demons and you have an offer for Seth, leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments. Email, what is the email?
We don't have one yet.
No, we do.
We do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot to say that last episode. People can submit their own stories again. truemyths@gmail.com. No, wait, I lied. It's not that. Don't send anything to that email. It's truemythspodcast@gmail.com.
Makes more sense.
Seth did send me an email.
You said you were going to bring it up on the podcast.
Yeah. Let me read for you Seth's story real quick. Let me pull this open. This is a question, the first part. Horrifying experience? Would be great on the show! ! And then it's just a photo of someone from VeggieTales.
Dude, that's so scary. Before we move on from the other one,
Sure.
I just have a last thing to add that this did take place in the 80s,
Yes.
right? we all know the world was a friendlier place back in the 80s.
Actually, that's true. Maybe you would just trust someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on who you were and what you looked like. but-
Yeah.
He says that he was a retired special forces, so he definitely had confidence in himself.
He was not scared
he's not
of this.
scared of
Well, why'd
people.
he retire?
I don't know, Seth.
I feel like we're starting to learn a little bit more about this guy. I don't trust him.
He retired because he kept making bad decisions.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that bizarre about this,
Yeah.
where I'd be like, no way that happened. It was kind of tame, so maybe this is more believable than I think.
100%
Yeah.
true. I don't think this one's the lie.
Okay. Well, then maybe this next one will get you. This one's really short and it's really interesting. I couldn't not put this one in here. So this story goes a little something like this. So, a while back, my grandpa used to tell me stories. As it goes, him and his buddies were out late one night. One of them decided to head home, but they agreed that if one goes, the rest of them go. So my grandpa, age 35 at the time, was driving home late at night. He sees a strange lady standing by the road, waving him down for a ride. So he stops to let her in.
No.
She got in with a dress and a purse. But then he looked down at her feet, and it wasn't normal human feet. It was deer feet. He said,
He let a deer in his car.
he said,
It was not a
know."
woman.
He said,
It's not a woman. He saw a deer, opened the door, and was like, wait a minute. Like half a mile later.
well, just wait.
Okay, it is a deer.
He said, I know what you are. Get out of my car. It got out and left the purse. And as soon as it got out, it turned into a deer. That's the end.
I believe it.
I believe it too. That totally happened.
That happened.
No, your thought was also my thought, Seth. This guy just didn't realize that it was literally just a deer.
Yeah, it was
This
a deer
guy-
the whole time.
This guy's never seen a deer in his life. It's like it was a really strange woman.
But here's what I thought was really strange. I scrolled into the comments, and the top comment was like, this is actually a really common occurrence. People report things like this all the time.
People don't.
There's a whole website dedicated to deer women. Your grandpa's really lucky because usually when you let deer women into your car, they're very violent and usually you don't live to tell the tale. But this one just got out and just went away.
If you don't live to tell the tale, then who tells the tale? Then
Well,
how do we know?
people survive. Like there's like
Yeah, but
this story,
like
for
it's like,
example.
well, usually if you encounter one, you don't live, and it's like you wouldn't know that. You would just see someone dead in a car.
Did he look through the purse?
Yeah. Well, did he look through the purse? And also, is it like a Cinderella type story?
That
you
is-
know, like leaves the purse behind and now needs to go in the forest and find the correct deer woman. Because that I could see like happening, and then that's how he becomes a grandfather.
right.
I just feel like this story it's not even about the deer woman that makes this story fake. It's that he didn't look through the purse and explain what was in it.
Yeah, there's no details on that.
There should have been details on it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a crucial thing. Like, if this deer woman ran out of his car and turned into a deer but left the purse behind, you would think he would look through the purse and be like,
See if there's
this-
an ID.
Yeah, this is what was in it. Like, here's a photo of the purse.
Right.
I don't know.
Let's move on here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call this next segment the Advice Corner. I have found some stories, very, very short stories, or more so questions of people who have had something weird happen to them, and they're either asking for what the thing is or some advice on how to handle this, and I just feel like we could be those people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Then-
But I don't think I want to give the advice out for free.
Oh,
Is what I'm
Seth wants to
saying.
charge for his services.
You're gonna have to join
if you're-
our memberships.
Yeah, if you're good at something, never do it for free. You know who said that? Who? The Joker in the Dark Knight.
Moments before we shot this episode of the podcast,
Seth was
in
dressed as Batman.
He was dressed as Batman.
Yeah.
We can't really explain why he just showed up like that, and we were like, Seth,
I mean,
you can't be Batman on the podcast.
But are we ready to give some advice?
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
The title of this story, or question rather, was I hear voices of my dad when I'm alone. The body says, a little backstory. My dad used to do ghost hunting and he got demonically oppressed. And
Oppressed?
and once in a while, I can hear him saying something when I'm home alone. What should I do?
I have so many questions, though. Is the dad dead?
I think
I don't know.
I think it's a lie because you could be possessed, but like oppressed. Like, what did the demon do? Just hold you back? I think the dad is trying to give her a message.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's probably something really, really rude. And that's why she's like, yeah, no, I can't understand what he's saying.
Well, my question is your dad? Maybe your dad is just home.
Yeah, maybe the dad's like stuck in the wall or something, and he's
I'm
like
so confused. Did his dad ever get undemonically oppressed? There's so many questions.
So the dad was a ghost hunter, right? And
Dad was a ghost hunter. He got demonically oppressed, and now once in a while, he hears him saying things when he's home alone. What should I do?
demons and ghosts are two different things. So was he a ghost hunter or was he a demon hunter?
Well, you could be a ghost hunter and then accidentally encounter a demon.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and then he got oppressed.
And
Then he got oppressed, correct.
Oppressed.
Yeah.
Systematically oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. So my advice would be check the other room and make sure your dad's not just actually home saying things.
Or summon the demon that oppressed him.
And ask him, hey, what's the deal?
And just like plead with the demon, like, hey, like what's going on with my dad? Can you please like stop oppressing him?
Say, hey, I'll sell my soul to you if you can help me make chicken bones dance.
Yeah.
Next person asking for advice, rather. Actually, I think this one's a little less of advice, but we'll see. So, about 3 to 4 years ago, me and my siblings were playing outside in the front yard. We heard this scream.
Suspicious.
At first, we thought it was just kids messing around. About 2 to 3 minutes go by, we hear it again. It sounded like a man having a blood-curdling scream, but he said something. I don't know if it was no or help, I couldn't remember. I know for sure that my siblings heard it because we all had a shocked look on our faces. We ran in the house, locked the front door, and watched Family Guy. About 5 to 10 minutes, and I hear something walking towards me. I thought it was my dog, but it was slower. We didn't have any bobcats or lynx or anything like that, so I didn't know what it was. But like I said, I thought it was my dog. But I looked, and my dog was sitting with them. So I acted fast. I locked all the doors and windows, turned off all the lights, and took my siblings to my mom's bedroom. We hid in the corner. Away from windows. We texted my mom, my grandma, my dad. I don't know. I really don't know why we didn't call 911. But we hid for 15 to 20 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. Well, maybe 16 minutes. And our dog starts barking. Our hearts sank. We kept on shooshing our dog. But our dog, she would stop for about 2 minutes. Then we wait, and waiting for whatever this was to just do something. But nothing really happened. But our mom came home and we explained everything in detail. She said not to be bothered by it, but I noticed something terrifying. A handprint on the hallway window. Its hands were like Shaquille O'Neal's, and the fingers were 2 to 3 times longer than mine, like almost 12 inches long. I couldn't sleep that night. Do you all know what this could have been?
Yes, I know for a fact what this was. This was Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
I've heard of a lot of Shaquille O'Neal encounters and sightings. This is definitely one of them. He is harmless.
Right.
Mostly, don't provoke him.
Yeah, if provoked, it can get pretty risky, but Shaquille O'Neal is generally considered to be harmless. He's also a DJ. The beginning of the story was kind of funny to me because I'm like, these are
just the beginning?
No, like, yeah, just the beginning. Because like when they're outside playing and like they hear screams, or it was like sounded like a man screaming. All I was thinking was that, are these our neighbors? Like, are these kids just hearing us filming outside?
Yeah, I'm constantly screaming no and help outside, always.
And how old is this person?
This person, I don't know.
I would say like 23.
But
because just the way they were saying the whole story, I'm like, it reminds me of my mom when I like bring her to the doctor's office, and like you just need to say like one thing where it's like, yeah, she's just having pain here, and she goes into this whole tangent where it's like none of this information is helpful for your question, which is what was this?
Yeah.
Which was I heard a man curling scream, big handprint size, this and that, and she needed to throw in that she took her siblings in to watch Family Guy. She didn't even tell us what episode.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is important information.
Very important information.
What was the episode?
Yeah, I think you're right. It probably was Shaquille O'Neal. My other thought, though, was that maybe actually it was the dog. The dog has human hands, and they never realized it, because this person clearly is not that well versed on their own dog.
All right, so it was like late at night one day in my house. It was like 3 a.m. or something. I went to go get a glass of water, and I turned to the sliding glass door, And, it's fogged up, but someone drew, and it was just so unsettling to see it, like a smiley face. And I was just like, what that's drawn on from the outside. It wasn't on the inside. And I was, freaking out for a second. Turns out my grandpa just did it.
I don't think it was your grandpa. I think that was also Shaquille O'Neal.
It might have been Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, last person looking for advice. Hello, so for the past few days, I have not been using my pillow. But today, I put it back in its place, and when I laid my head down on it, it began screaming at me. Not super loudly, but I could hear it very clearly through my ear touching it. I have no idea when this screaming thing came about, but it either keeps screaming, panting, or coughing. Does anyone have any idea what this is? When I turn my head, I still hear it, and it doesn't stop for a while until after I move away from it. Any insights would be very helpful.
It's chemtrails.
Explain?
They just have to move.
Are you saying that it's like the chemtrails are just making this person go insane?
I cannot explain further.
In a serious sense, if this is like a serious post and this isn't just someone trolling, maybe check the inside of your pillow and make sure there aren't microphones or people watching you or anything like that or listening to you.
Yeah.
That would be my first piece of actual advice, but...
Or get a new pillow.
Anyways, no matter what it is, you definitely should move. And I have a very good insight on a very valuable property in North Dakota. If you could email, what's the email again?
truemythspodcast@gmail.com.
You got it right that time.
Yeah, but put in the subject, SOS Seth, please, please.
By Sabrina Carpenter.
No, this is serious matter.
Yeah, I mean, my other thought is, are you sure it's coming from the pillow?
What if they're just screaming and they don't realize it? Like a dog that farts and then, wakes itself up and is scared?
Right.
Something like that. They just go, ah! And they're like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
I think that this person is hearing. I think this one and the last one are connected. The kids that were playing outside in their front yard heard a man screaming, and I think this person is experiencing that exact same scream, which leads us back to Shaquille O'Neal.
My other thought is that this is the same poster who asked about his demonically oppressed dad, and the voices he's hearing through his pillow are actually his dad, but no one gave him advice the first time he posted the question, so he said, let me rephrase this.
What if they're all connected, and the dad is Shaquille O'Neal?
That makes sense.
Oh my god, this is crazy. I think we cracked the case. We're so good at advice, guys.
Yeah, and that's why you should contact us through our email, truemythspodcast@gmail.com. And
what's the email, Anthony?
It's mythspod@truemyths.gmail.
Are you taking this seriously at all?
Okay, all right. Are we ready to move into our next story?
We're moving
in an economy where housing is very affordable.
Awesome.
Very
Let's
very
go.
affordable.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. I used to work on the North Slope of Alaska in the oil industry. The work we were doing required us to travel far out into the Alaska Petroleum Reserve, which is basically just untamed tundra wilderness for hundreds of miles. It was mid-January, the sun hadn't quite come up yet, and when I say the sun hadn't come up yet, I mean it was almost a month and a half prior. Polar nights are intense. This particular well site we were traveling to was about 60 miles west of Alpine, Alaska, deep in the wilderness. It was about 4 a.m, and we were halfway across the ice road. Travel was slow as the speed limit on the roads is only 25 miles per hour. When something appeared on the road in our headlights. It was a man in jeans, sneakers, and a hoodie jacket walking down an ice road in the wilderness tundra at 4 a.m. It was negative 20 degrees outside. It's not unusual for local Inuit people to be out this far hunting. Maybe his snowmobile broke down and he's trying to get back to the guard shack. Seems plausible. He didn't acknowledge us as our truck rolled up next to him. He didn't seem cold. His clothing, while totally not appropriate for this extreme weather, appeared warm and dry. We also noticed he wasn't Inuit, but Caucasian. I rolled down my window and asked if he needed help or if he was okay.
Hold on. First of all, if you know white people, they are always wearing shorts in cold weather.
Couldn't be me. I don't even own a pair of shorts.
Well, you're not white, you're Italian.
I was so convinced this was another Shaquille O'Neal sighting.
Until the Caucasian boss.
Yes. Because everybody knows Shaq has cold resistance.
Well, I'm gonna continue here. I rolled down my window, asked if he needed any help, and if he was okay. He still didn't acknowledge us, just kept shuffling forward. His face was completely blank and devoid of any thought or emotion. Even in this extreme cold, I could occasionally get whiffs of a peculiar smell. He smelled acidic. There was just a lot about this guy that made the hair on my neck stand up. The guy behind me in the truck's crew cab had enough of all of this. He rolled down his window and reached out to grab the guy. He was gonna try and shake him out of it. Before my buddy's hand could reach him though, this walking popsicle spun around and latched himself onto my buddy's outstretched arm. He glared at my buddy and then at me with this look of pure rage, not removing his hand from his arm. My buddy groaned in pain as he tried to get his arm free from Mr. Popsicle. At that moment, this guy starts screaming in our faces. There was so much hate and rage and anger in that scream. It was absolutely terrifying. I slammed on the gas and we spun out on the ice for a second before the wheels caught and launched us forward. Popsicle Dude still had a hold of my buddy's arm and was trying to pull him out of the truck. He was running alongside the truck while the other guys in the cab held onto my buddy to keep him inside. After a few seconds at most, my buddy tore free from this guy and we went to the guard shack another 30 miles down the road. We checked in with the guards and reported what we had just seen. The guard was looking at us like we were pulling a prank, but policy said they had to check it out regardless. My buddy's arm was sore. When he pulled back his sleeve, there were noticeable bruises in the shape of a hand around his arm. We filed a report with the guard and we were able to head back to our camp. None of us really wanted to talk about what happened and it was a quiet drive the rest of the way. We flew home the next day. The next time we saw the guard at the shack, we asked him if they had ever seen Mr. Popsicle on his patrols. He told us they searched up and down that ice road for a solid 12-hour shift and saw nothing. Not even tracks in the snow off the road. He told us it was a good prank and that he'd get us back for making him waste a shift driving around. But it wasn't a prank. I still wonder about that dude, if he even was a dude. And that's the end of the story.
What the heck? This is so mean towards this poor guy who's walking, and you're like, he's called Mr. Popsicle. I don't even know if he's a guy. He's so weird. My buddy tried to grab him, and he grabbed on his arm and hurt him. And then our truck spun out because of him.
So what I will say is, it is weird that the guy wasn't responding, and it is weird that he smelled like acid.
I wouldn't respond. I smell like acid.
You know what? I'm not gonna disagree. No, it reminds me of what Andrew was saying last episode where like sometimes like the homeless people he deals with at work just don't want to talk. They will not respond to you.
Yeah.
That is kind of the vibe I'm getting here. It may have just been a person who was like mad. The bruises on his arm are weird, but then when you really think about it, right? If they slammed on the gas and this guy was still clenched on
For dear life.
right, yeah, that might cause a bruise it might not be just from the guy grabbing him.
And they're mad that he caused bruises. I'm just like, guy, this might be just some poor homeless guy. This guy might be an Inuit person, you know? You could be white passing.
That's true.
You know? And
That's true.
And respect their culture. And they're like, no. You can't be out like that. Let my buddy grab you, and we're gonna teach you a lesson. Like, trying to be like, isn't that spooky? Like, and it's just like, you guys are jerks. That's it.
Okay, that's fair. Honestly, those are all fair points.
Yeah, I know. I know they're fair.
I'm a fair person.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much that's probably like left out of this story because I'm just getting the vibe, kind of like what Seth is saying, that these guys in the truck were just jerks, and they were just antagonizing this guy who was just trying to mind his own business and walk, and maybe he's going through something, or maybe, you know, he's so cold.
They said his face was blank, devoted. Like, you did, like, what if you had a bad breakup? What if something like that happened?
Something like this.
Well, the thing that is weird is that the guy was talking about how like the nearest campsites were 60 miles apart. So this guy was walking for 60 miles in clothing that definitely wasn't warm, according to this guy's description.
Right.
That is weird.
Okay, he's going on a walk.
That is weird.
Right.
That is weird.
Okay, he's going on a walk.
Which, like,
It's a far walk.
Yeah, I know. He's got a lot of thinking to do.
I guess, all right, maybe they're trying to be good by, like, checking on him. Like,
That
hey,
is
you're
that
right.
is what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
As soon as they grabbed him, I'm like, okay.
That's where they crossed the line. And
Yes.
then they...
And then they get mad that they, they got hurt.
The scene's just really funny to me, though, of the guy grabbing onto his arm, and they start flooring it away in their truck, and this guy is just sprinting alongside the truck while holding on to the dude's arm.
And I love how he also had like a plausible explanation too. He was like, yeah, maybe his like snowmobile like broke down or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, and he doesn't want to talk to you. Sorry.
Also, I feel like the acid smell was just such a weird detail. Like, this
It is
guy
weird.
smelled like acid.
he's just.
How do you know what that smells like?
Yeah. I could not tell you. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know what acid smells like.
I kind of know the smell a little bit. It's almost like a little citrusy, but like in a different direction.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely interesting story. These guys just give off a bad vibe.
They give bad vibes. I'm like, I don't know what you guys do when you go off to Alaska. You fly away from your families, but you become the worst types of people.
They're
So,
rolling down their window and harassing people on the street.
Innocent
and then
people.
They're judging them based on their smell. They're trying to
Yeah.
grab them.
Like all this, like if you just attribute it to a homeless person, all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's almost a crime.
Ready to move on to our final story here?
Yeah, let's
oh wait,
do
a minute.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we have one more story.
This one's definitely the lie.
I used to work downtown in New York City on St. Mark's. I would get off late after work. I would frequent a bar across the street. By the time I left one night, it was super late and I had to get to the train. On the way to the train, I realized I had to pee and I didn't feel like holding it on the train ride back to the Bronx, so I sought out the closest alleyway. As I'm standing there relieving myself, I hear a voice with a British accent say, "Quite the evening, wouldn't you say?" I look into the alley, and standing there was a young man. Maybe late 20s, early 30s. He was dressed rather well in all black. He was unusually pale, dark hair, piercing blue eyes. I said, "Yeah, it's pretty nice, but I'm about to be on the train for an hour or so. That sucks." "Indeed," he responds. It was a casual tone, not menacing or anything. "How's your night going?" I asked. He inhaled deeply and exhaled. "My night is just beginning. I think I'll walk around for a while, catch a late dinner." He had a very articulate manner of speech. "Sounds cool. Well, nice to meet you." I paused as one does to ask for a person's name. "Sebastian," he said. "Well, Sebastian, I'm Castro. It was nice to meet you. Maybe next time we meet, it'll be under less awkward circumstances." He chuckled and said, "Yes, I do hope so." I left him there in the alley and walked to the train. Went home, went to sleep. I was off the next night, but decided to go down to St. Mark's to have a few drinks. I rode the train. As I'm exiting the train, I hear, "Castro!" I turn towards the familiar voice and see Sebastian. He was wearing seemingly the same clothes from the night before, but still very dapper. "Hey, how are you?" I asked in a welcoming tone. "I am fine, thank you. Will you be working tonight?" he asked. Before I could question how he could possibly know I worked in the area, I said, "No, I'm off tonight, gonna grab a few drinks and hang out. You're welcome to join me." "Splendid. I don't drink, but if you wouldn't mind the company then, I'd be happy to join you," he said almost excitedly. Up until that moment, I hadn't realized just how incredibly pale he was. He was almost paper white, and his eyes were so blue they almost glowed. We headed up to the stairs, to the street, made our way to the bar. We chatted a while about myself, and then I said, "So what about you? What's your story?" He said with such sincerity, yet so casual that I was taken aback. "I am what most call a vampire." I looked up from my drink, straight into his eyes, and in that instant, I realized this being, this individual across from me, was serious. And I believed him. A rush of adrenaline came over me instantly. "Calm yourself," he said, placing a very pale, cold hand on mine. "I have no intention of harming you. I find you interesting and thought I would enjoy conversing with you. I was watching you last night in this bar. The way you carry yourself piqued my interest." He was sincere. Okay, well, say I believed you. How old are you? I asked. I am roughly 600 years old. I'm young by our standards. Our standards? Are there more people like you? I asked. There are, but not many, he answered. I was in a very awkward situation, to say the least. I was either talking to a real vampire or a total nut job that belonged in a mental institution. I finished my drink and said, well, I think that's enough excitement for me. I think it's time to catch that train. I said, very obviously shook by the revelation. I hope I didn't scare you. He seemed a little worried. No, it's just a lot to take in. In my mind, I was only thinking of how fast I could get away from this being. Will I see you again? He asked. Sure, man. Just don't do anything weird like show up in my room or anything. I laughed nervously. Of course not. He laughed in turn. Well, Sebastian, I'll see you around, I said as I was walking away, trying not to seem like I was running. As I had taken about 5 steps when I heard, Castro! I turned, looked at Sebastian, and was left stunned. He was looking at me, and his eyes were beaming. They were doing the reflective cat thing. I will be seeing you again soon, I hope. Sure. See you soon. I turned and hurried away. That was the last time I saw Sebastian. I am in no way confirming or denying that this being was really a vampire. And that's the end of the story.
Can I just say, this is like your average New York City experience. I
go all the time and I haven't had this happen to me.
You're not going to New York City.
I will say that, again, this is a story where the main character just makes bad decisions. Like, there is a bathroom on the train. What do you mean you had to hold it on the train? You can pee on the train. You didn't need to go into an alley in the dark.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
That I was thinking as well. Regardless of whether this person is making this story up or not, I just think it's really, really cool.
It is a cool story.
I also love the idea of like, yeah, like maybe this guy really was a vampire, but he genuinely, at least I would like to believe, yeah, he didn't want to hurt this guy. He just wants to make connections. I also understand though the guy leaving though at the end, because if someone in front of you said, I'm a vampire, I don't plan on hurting you, right? In the back of your mind, you're still gonna be like, well, whoa, what if this guy is a vampire and he does plan on hurting me and he's lying?
Yeah, what if he's just lying to me?
That's not my thought is like, okay, I need to see if this guy's real or not. So you start asking like, oh, okay, that's cool. Where were you born?
You're a brave soul. Something that I think is kind of cool. I don't remember if it was in the comments or the end of this story that I cut out. Near the end, the guy, our narrator here, says that he has like, I believe some heart condition and he's actually dying right now. And the narrator actually said, I kind of wonder that if I could run into this man again, I would ask him like, can you save me? Is there something you can do? But he has never seen him again.
Did the heart condition happen afterwards or did he have the heart condition during?
Ooh.
No, he did not have a heart condition during this.
Okay.
I forget exactly what happened.
Well, hold on. He didn't have a heart condition diagnosed.
That's true.
During
That's true.
this.
Yes.
Yeah. The vampire could have smelled it on him.
That's true.
There's a character called Sebastian from the anime Black Butler, and like he's a demon, and that was kind of giving me like those kind of vibes.
I would like to believe this is real.
Yeah.
I think this is really, really cool. I love this story.
It's like Twilight. Not all the vampires were bad.
They weren't bad. Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that at the very least this experience was real to this person, because at the end he's like, I don't actually know if this guy was just crazy or a real vampire. Regardless, this is the experience I had.
It's also funny if Sebastian was just pranking him like really hard. Like Sebastian, it was like a normal chance encounter, and then like, oh yeah, let's go have something to eat together. And then Sebastian's like, hey, I gotta tell you something, man. I'm a vampire.
Right.
Yeah. And like totally freaked this guy out, but it was just a prank.
Yeah, so those are our stories for today. The last piece of advice here that I would say, get in the car right now and go pick up that dear woman on the side of the road. I know you want to. And check your pillows for devices.
And my advice that I will give to all the demons listening and watching is, you gotta make a better offer. You gotta sell yourself a little bit better.
I'm still waiting.
the chicken bones, it's a cool party trick, but it's not enough.
Thank you all for watching. Let us know what other ideas or topics, suggestions you want to see for future episodes. Let me know who you want to see on the show.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Kind of just, throw out the bait, see if he comes. I think he'd be a good interviewer.
Yeah.
Not interviewee, interviewer. Like, he'll ask you good questions.
We will see you guys again soon with another episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.